Idris Talib. He's the CEO of New Horizon Community Service. How you doing there, Mr. Talib?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Tell the viewing audience about Idris Talib.
Okay. I was born in Houston, Texas, 1980. I lived there for 8 years before moving to Huntsville, Alabama. My mother, she was a professor in the School of Social Work at Alabama A&M, so we stayed there for 2 years. But my mother, she was originally raised in Wilson, North Carolina. Upon her grandmother's death and some other people in our family dying, she wanted to move closer to home. So we moved to Wilson, North Carolina in 1990. So that's where I stayed from 5th grade all the way until age 18 upon going to North Carolina State University. While a student there, I studied computer engineering. I left in 2003 and I came out when the tech bubble burst. So as a result, I got into finance. And then I moved to Charlotte in 2006. I started work designing retirement plans at TI-CREF. Then I went to Morgan Stanley.
Okay, outstanding. New Horizon Community Service. Educate us on that service.
Okay. Basically, we're a mental health agency and we provide outpatient therapy services to individuals, families, as well as groups and organizations. Actually, I accidentally got into this field. It was a total accident. When I was working as a stockbroker at Morgan Stanley, one of my clients owned a mental health agency, and I didn't really understand too much about it until we really started working with each other. My mother, she actually has been a licensed clinical social worker. That's her training. So she has a background in mental health. So as I started, working with the company, I started learning about all the people that were able to be helped through the services that this company provides. And then I was more behind the scenes, just handling the finances of the company. So I did that for about 2 years. After that, I ended up buying a Quiznos in Concord. I did that for a year. And then after I sold the restaurant, I decided, you know what, why don't I start my own agency? And that's how New Horizon Community Services came to be here in Charlotte.
How important was it? Why did you choose that field, that area, mental health?
What really made me a true believer in mental health was I saw a video on YouTube. It was this young lady, I believe her name was Sarah, something with a K. This young lady, she was in jail. She was 29 years old. She had been in jail since she was 16 years old. A little bit about her background was she was raised by a single mother. She made honor roll in school, which said, she was pretty smart. However, she was always looking for a father figure in her life. Something was missing in her life. So this older gentleman who was in his 20s, started taking an interest to her. And, she was looking for that father figure, so she became close with him. Eventually, he started prostituting her. And then as a result, she ended up killing this guy. So she shot him, and she got sentenced life in prison without a possibility of parole at age 16. She's now 29 years old. So it really got me thinking. I was like, what we do is very, very, very important because it can have an intergenerational effect. What if someone such as our company or one of our counselors were able to sit down with her, let her know you are special, despite a father not being in your life. Here's some different resources. Let me show you a better way. We could entirely, dramatically change the course of her life. And then imagine by her doing that, because we know she made honor roll, she may have gone on to college, gone on to have a successful career, but most importantly, she would have had a family herself. She would have taught her children the skill set that came from maybe an agency such as myself. So that really motivated me and said, what we're doing is very, very, very important and it's vital because mental health, there's a stigma in our community that, you have to be crazy. It's not about that. It's about, are you able to maximize your full potential? Because everything starts up here, which is mental.
When we look at our society, especially with the criminal activities, how much does that have on that mental health stage?
It's huge. It's huge. And this may just be my opinion, but based off of statistical analysis and the way that I interpret it, no one grows up and says, I want to be a criminal. The reason why people may resort to criminal activities is they feel they may not have any other options. There may be something in their life interfering with them being able to fully think out the consequences of their actions. It may be things such as finances. They want to get something real fast that's going to give them a temporary enjoyment without thinking of the long-term consequences. All of these are aspects of mental health. It may be from the time when they were a child. Different people may not be in their life. There may be different behavioral and emotional disturbances that are going on in their life. And then even on the other end, when people commit these crimes, there's someone that they're committing these crimes to. That person,
Right.
It can really dramatically change the outlook on their life. They may not feel safe. They may feel uncomfortable. They may shut down. They may not want to communicate. They may become depressed. All of these are aspects of mental health. And then to take it one step further, whoever they're involved with, it starts to affect them as well, because no one is an island. We're all in a community. So therefore, we have impact on other people within that community, whether it be people in our household, such as our children, our parents, our grandparents, or it may be our neighbors, or it may be some people at school. So all of these things are intertwined with each other, and it all starts with mental health.
The services at New Horizon, what all do you provide?
Okay, the services that we provide, everything starts off with an initial intake. Someone may be referred to us, and they may be referred to us for various different reasons. Then we'll have one of our professionals go out, and then we'll ask them some questions to figure out, okay, what's going on? Because we have to make sure they're a good fit for the services that we provide, and if they're not, then we may be able to refer them to another community resource so they can be helped. So after that's completed, intake form is just basic demographic information, where do you live, things of that nature. The next thing is to have an assessment. Once we see that they fit criteria for what we're looking for, then we have an initial comprehensive clinical assessment. And basically, this is going to be an analysis of what's going on with you. Most of the questions are around, how you think, what's going on, how do you feel, why do you feel a certain way, what's been your background, things of that nature. Once that is complete, we provide a treatment plan. A treatment plan is created. A treatment plan is really goal setting. And then the person who's going to create the goals is actually going to be the individual, because it doesn't matter what we think, it matters what do you think, because you're going to be the most integral part of this process. And then based upon the goals that are in that treatment plan, then we're either going to do individual, family, or group therapy, or a combination of all of those. And those are the main services that we provide at New Horizon Community Services.
Why is it so vital that the individual that comes to your service, they be committed to wanna to change their life?
Right. It's like with anything in life. We may want to help someone so bad. We really want to help them. But if someone does not want to receive the help themselves, nothing is going to be accomplished. If anything, they're going to be real resistant to what you're trying to do. So that's another thing that we work on with our clinicians as well, is it's not about what you want. It's about what do they want. And we do a lot of work with not just the clinical functions, but people skills, their interpersonal communication skills. Because most people that I've been around, they want to be successful. There's just things that have occurred or things that are happening to them that may be a barrier in their way to them becoming the successful person that they really want to be on the inside. And sometimes we have to pull that out of them. We have to say, what's most important to you? When are you happiest? What did you dream about? Well, yes, you may be 40 years old and your life is gone according to this course, but statistically speaking, you're going to live for another 50 years. Let's work on some of these goals. And that's why it's integral that you are in control of your own plan, because it's about you and what you want.
I know you mentioned group therapy. Why is that important for some individuals, and why is confidentiality important in a type of setting like that?
Okay. Group therapy allows individuals to be able to work with each other to discuss whatever's going on. Case in point, you have experiences and backgrounds that are unique to yourself as an individual, such as myself and the other people involved. By working together, hearing from these other people, we're able to get different types of perspectives that we ourselves may not be able to think about. Our licensed professional who's leading the discussion, they're really just a moderator. They're not telling them really what to do. They're moderating the discussion. Mr. Brown, how do you feel about this? Mr. Top, how do you feel about that? And as a result, everyone is able to learn from each other, and everyone is able to gain some things. And then the question about confidentiality, that is vital to our organization. For one, it's the law. We're not going to violate any HIPAA violations. For two, we have to have the people we serve feel comfortable. They are discussing the most intimate details of their life. They're discussing the most intimate dreams that they have. They're discussing the most intimate fears that they have. They're discussing things that no one may know. And confidentiality it forms a bridge on a trusting relationship. If I tell you something, I'm putting all of my faith in you that you're going to be able to help me with what I do. And that's why it is so important that we have confidentiality in every single thing that we do. If we have to disclose anything whatsoever, you are going to be the person to give us permission. Now, there are some things that have to be disclosed. If, for instance, if you've been sexually abused. Now, there's some things by the law that we do have to disclose. However, we do let you know that ahead of time before we do anything.
Okay.
So anyone who's involved in any type of outpatient therapy or anything therapeutic, you can be rest assured that what goes on between you and the person you're working with is going to stay between you and that person you're working with.
And with the passion that you have as far as with that confidentiality, that's really important to an individual, knowing that I'm not going to hear it.
Right.
Other than from the individual I'm talking to, because I lose my trust.
Exactly.
And then I will come in, I'll start holding back then because, there's how can I trust you with others?
Right. It's the most beautiful thing where when someone comes in, it's like when you meet a stranger. I'm not just going to disclose everything to you. I have to have a comfort level with you. I may disclose some things, whatever my comfort level is. But as time goes along and I really see that you're interested in my well-being, then I'm really going to open up to you. And when I open up to you, you as the clinician, because you have, a great background, education, and training, are really going to be able to help me meet those goals that I have identified in that treatment plan. And that's what it's all about. It's all about having the individuals that we serve be able to maximize their God-given potential that's inside of them.
You provide service for families. How important is that for the families to come to get help for one of the family members? Because sometimes we have a tendency to believe that there's nothing wrong with them.
Right. And the way that works is, first of all, there is a stigma in our community as far as getting help. We don't want to seem like we're vulnerable.